Hello and welcome back to Typical City, getting our Premier League season off and running with a bang, and a big one at that. 2-0. 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. The nil is what I love the most. The clean sheet, silencing Cucurella in the process. The Premier League have very much thrown us in the deep end with easily the hardest fixture out of any of the big clubs so far. And we've gobbled it up for breakfast. You can throw us in the deep end all you want, Premier League, giving Arsenal a nice, easy, cushioned game, home to Wolves, newly promoted Ipswich, bang average middling team United get Fulham. You know, we get Chelsea away that have got excitement around them, signing new players. You can throw us in the deep end all you want, mate. We've been swimming in the deep end for quite some time. In fact, we haven't been swimming. We've been lying on a lilo with 4 Premier League trophies around us, mate. We're doing just fine in this swimming pool of the Premier League, and we're doing everything we can to maintain this form that we've shown over the last season, and the 4 seasons, let's get it straight, and going for a 5th Premier League title in a row. Wow. That would be unbelievable. There are so many good talking points about this game, so many key players that I think were absolutely sensational. There are a couple of stinking performances thrown in there, unfortunately, as well, and I'll get onto them. But let's talk about the positives first of all. Let's start with Erling Haaland, because he scored a goal, which is something I promised he would do after the Community Shield. I said he'd be back. I said you can write him off all you want, but you don't do it long term. You've got to think about Erling Haaland as a player who needs chances. He got his chance. He took his chance. There weren't any other chances. He didn't have any other chance. Well, he did. No, he did. Second half, he should have put it in more in the corner. Bernardo Silva set him up and he whipped it. Sanchez saved it. If he puts that, and Haaland was fuming with himself because that would have made it 2-0. But that was the first chance of the game. Clinical as you like. Big, strong athleticism shown by Erling Haaland to fight off Cucurella, who was giving it fucking large all summer. Looking forward to facing Erling Haaland. I wonder what he's thinking now while he's writhing in pain on the floor, begging for Erling Haaland to come and sort his cramp out. Haaland, mate, piss off, mate. You think I'm going to help you with cramp and do one of them, like lift your leg up and push back to get rid of your cramp? Piss off, mate. Piss off. Cucurella, mate, he was all over the place in that game. I thought he actually had an all-right game, Cucurella, as well. Like, he dealt with Doku very well. When Savinho went on that right wing, though, by the way, he was absolutely rinsing him down that right wing. Savinho looked so exciting, and it's a devastating blow to lose him. The fact that he got up, he got back on his feet, he came back on for a couple of minutes as well, Savinho, and he sprinted, suggests that hopefully that's not too serious. But you're talking about losing Oscar Bob until Christmas. You add Savinho, even if it's for 4 or 5 games, we've got problems there. And all of a sudden, we've gone from one of the areas of the pitch that we were the strongest in our wingers. Thinking of all the cover that we've got. You know, you've got Bernardo Silva can play there, Foden can play there, Doku, Savinho, Jack Grealish. You know, multiple players, and I'm probably missing some as well. 5 players that are guaranteed to cover that winger's role. And all of a sudden, 2 of them gone. Oscar Bob, sorry, to make it 6. You know, gone. So that's a blow. You're hoping the Savinho one's not as serious, but there are players in that squad today that can hang their heads high. There was a debate going on in the Watchalong. Thanks very much to everyone who joined me in that Watchalong. There was a debate going on with regards to who should be man of the match, and I'll get onto that shortly as well. But it was a very strong performance from the majority of the squad. But let's get some of the negatives out of the way, because I want to talk about them, because they're small. There's a little bit of concern there, but overall this is a good day for City. But let's talk about the negatives first. Get that out of the way first of all. Doku, I thought he had a bit of a poor game. I thought first half he struggled to beat his man. The best time I saw Doku was once we were 2-0 up. I felt like he was the right man for the job. All of a sudden he was beating Gusto. He was riding the challenges of Gusto, who was like slapping at his back, trying to pull him back. Riding down that left wing, Doku was doing all right after 2-0. Prior to that, his decision making, his end product, man. That's the problem with Doku, and it's been a problem since he signed. Is his ability to beat the fullback has never been questioned, because we know he's sensational. His dribbling ability is ridiculous. He gets to that byline, or whether he cuts back, his cross into the box or the pass has got to be better. he arguably got away with it with the goal. He was heavily involved with the goal. The vision was there. The awareness of Doku to see Bernardo Silva in space, good. Well done. The pass to him was a poor pass that Bernardo Silva had to stick out an outstretched left leg. And Bernardo Silva's intelligence and spatial awareness gets a nice little touch on it just with the studs to deflect that pass into the path of Erling Haaland. Now, arguably, if Doku's pass was better, Bernardo Silva might not have been able to give Haaland that pass. So it ended up working in our favour. But Doku didn't mean for that ball to go there. He wanted it to either go into Bernardo Silva's feet or even in front of him so Bernardo Silva can take it into his stride, because Bernardo Silva was one touch away from getting a shot if the pass was good. But the pass was not good, but Bernardo Silva used his initiative to see the situation and improvised by outstretching that left boot and getting it to Erling Haaland, who did all the work after that. Other than that, Doku's end product has got to be better. It's got to be better. Now, Savinho showed glimpses of similar quality to Doku, beating players. He was going down that right wing. He looked sensational. Whenever Cucurella went near him, his ability to just dangle that carrot, tease him a little bit, and then bang, I'm past you. See you later. The problem from Savinho's point of view is when he looked at his best, dribbling-wise, he was on the right wing. Now, I said at the start of the season that we should start with Savinho on the left and Doku on the right. I know I've heard other City fans say it should be the other way round. I would much prefer to see Savinho on the left, naturally left-footed player playing left wing, and a naturally right-footed player playing right wing in Doku and Savio. They swapped after 15 minutes, which I thought was weird, maybe because Doku was not getting the better of Cucurella, because it was like 4 out of 4. 4 attempts to beat Cucurella. He failed in all 4 of them, Doku. Savinho was beating him when he went onto that side. The problem with Savinho was, though, he's got no right foot. So when he got to that right wing, he had to turn back and beat the player he's already beaten once. Once you've beaten him, keep them beaten. Stay beat. Do you know what I mean? Get to that byline and either use your right foot, which is something Savinho's got to do. He's got to learn that cutting back and slowing it down kills the momentum of the attack. Haaland's going to be running. If you're sprinting down that byline and getting to the byline, Haaland's going to be waiting for you. He's going to expect a cross coming in early at speed. And if Savinho's going to chop back because he refuses to use his right foot, that's a future problem that we only saw a glimpse of. And it's not Savinho's fault. If you put him on the left, he'll beat his fullback, and instinctively, Savinho will want to whip it in. First time, Haaland, he'll be rubbing his hands together every time he sees Savinho coming down that left wing. He'll be like, I know I'm getting this first time. He's going to cross this as soon as he gets an opportunity. The same will be for Doku, who will get to the byline and cross it first time. That's why Pep started them there. They swapped for whatever reason. Whether that was Pep's instruction or Doku said, let's give it a try. I'm going to try on the other side because I'm having no luck against Cucurella. See how you do against Cucurella, and I'll go and have a battle with Gusto. Why they did that, I don't know. It didn't do any damage to the game, to the result. It was fine. But what was a concern was Savinho doesn't have a right foot, and that shone in that first half. Hopefully the fitness levels are going to be okay, because what he did show is his ability to beat people, and his long legs, his sprinting power. Once Cucurella was past him, he was gone, wasn't he? He was so good at beating that fullback, and he was beating him at the halfway line at times in that first half. So that's great news that we've got 2 wingers that are going to be doing what they're doing. Hopefully Doku and Savinho can grow together with the season and create a relationship with Erling Haaland, and we can be known as the most devastating front 3 in world football. Real Madrid will have something to say about that. But the idea of Doku and Savinho and Erling Haaland being supplied by Doku and Savio, that's an exciting future for Manchester City. They've just got to get their end product right, and then we're in business here. We're in business, because it was a real quality of showing, dribbling quality from those 2 wingers today. Once Doku gets to the byline, product's got to be better. That's the issue for me. He's got to cross that ball with more accuracy and find the right pass. Moving back, though, let's start with Rico Lewis. Absolutely ridiculous. Rico Lewis, man. I mean, number 1 right back for me now. And there was a debate in the watch-along as well. I think Rico Lewis, Kyle Walker should be looking at this thinking, am I getting back in this side? Right now, not with this system. The only way I see Walker getting back in this side is when Rodri comes back. Because what that will do will make Kovacic either on the bench or play alongside Rodri and being more of a number 8 pushing and shoving. And in that scenario, you would see Kyle Walker come on because Rico Lewis is no longer tucking inside, but Akanji or John Stones would then push in and out of defensive midfield, and we'd have a flat back three of Walker, Diaz and Gvardiol, and in front of them you could have Akanji and Rodri with Kovacic pushing up alongside. But then it's like, where's Phil Foden and De Bruyne going to go? Kovacic would have to leave the pitch for Walker to come back on, and it's like, I don't want to lose Kovacic, and I don't want to lose Rico Lewis. Going off recent form, what the idea of dropping either is stupid for me. Kovacic was absolutely brilliant. What a performance he put in the middle of the park. To ghost past £100 million Caicedo and £100 million Enzo. All what did he cost again? Was he like 25 million, 15, 20 million? I can't remember exactly how much he cost. I know he didn't cost 100 million. I know that. It was like 20 million for Kovacic. Went past those £200 million combination like they weren't even there. And then he just whips it. Sanchez gets a hand to it, but the move itself deserved a goal. He deserved a goal for his whole performance in that game. Kovacic was brilliant. Rico Lewis's engine. His ability to read the game, it's like, wow. He gave Doku a bollocking at one point. There was Doku bursting inside, and Rico just ghosted into this little pocket, into the number 10, coming inside. As Doku was going infield like that, Rico was going infield a bit further ahead of him. Just needed a little ball into Rico's path. Doku doesn't see it. He doesn't even see it. And I'm like, I mean, obviously we get the privileged angle of watching it on a screen where you can see it, but even on the pitch, you've got to see that Doku. Rico turns around and just throws his arms at Doku and gives him a bollocking. He's 19, mate. Doku's obviously not that old himself. He's only 20 or 21 now, isn't he? So, but still, got more experience than Rico, and Rico was absolutely right. 100% correct to be giving Doku a bollocking there. That's the situation where Doku's got to improve on. A little 5-yard pass, and Rico Lewis was in business then. But yeah, Rico all over the pitch. Defensive work, fantastic. Some of the stuff, back post defending as Pedro Neto was about to get a tap in, ends up smashing into the post. Rico Lewis, mate, absolutely love him. He's growing. So for me, I can't see Kyle Walker finding it easy to get back into this starting 11, because Rico Lewis is he's planted his flag in this starting 11 for me. Rico Lewis, he really, really has. Kovacic has as well, but there's no way Rodri doesn't get back into this starting 11. So where do you play Kovacic then when Rodri's back? You have to go with you have to keep the defence as either a flat back 4 or a flat back 3 with no one inverting, and let Kovacic and Rodri sit together, because a fit Phil Foden and a fit Kevin De Bruyne, they're playing ahead of them. So what do you want to do? Does Kovacic do you want to go risky and play with a flat back 3? That's what I would do. I would just keep the back 3 as a back 3 with no one pushing forward like Gvardiol did last season, leaving 2 at the back, which was crazy at times. I would just keep a flat back 3, and in front of them I'd have Rodri and Kovacic together, and then in front of them De Bruyne and Foden, Akanji, Diaz and Gvardiol at the back, Savinho on the left, Doku on the right, Haaland up top. That for me is the team. But there's no Rico in that team. There's no Rico, who's been absolutely sensational. But Rico's there. That's the good news, is we know we can trust him. We can put him into this team. But what would you do if Rodri comes back? Would you rather see Rico Lewis or Kovacic playing in that defensive midfield role? Because Rico can do 2 roles. Rico can do the right back, make that defence a back 4 when needed, and push into midfield when needed. Kovacic can't go and be a right back. He needs to be in the middle. So we have a high quality, ridiculous level of control in midfield by playing Kovacic and Rodri. But the back line becomes a little bit frail, becomes a little bit less versatile in going from a 4 to a 3, 4 to a 3, like that. You end up just with a permanent 3, which teams will find a way. That would also require Doku and Savinho, which they were in the first half, doing very good backtracking. Doku and Savinho were both doing defensive duties really well, both of them. Something I didn't really give credit for Doku doing, and Savinho was noticeable doing, almost too much actually, because he nearly gave a penalty away, didn't he, on the edge of the area, which I think, because it was on the edge of the area, was effectively a free kick, if anything, so VAR can't even get involved in that. But it was risky, something Savinho needs to watch himself with a little bit. He seems like a bit of a hothead. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season, and I certainly expected the game to play out like it did. I didn't expect the poor quality in the final third. Both teams. I thought Chelsea were really bad in the final third. Decision making, deliveries into the box, poor. City were 2 goals better than Chelsea in that department, but we were pretty wasteful with crosses into the box. Little decision making, like runs that were not being seen, and then passes that were expecting runs that weren't being made. Little chemistry, little moments of chemistry being missing, and that's first game of the season. It's what you expect. I imagine both sides will start to find their feet as the season progresses, and I don't want to face Chelsea later in the season, because under Maresca they will learn, they will have time to have understood the tactics that Maresca expects of Chelsea. So getting that fixture out of the way and winning, not just getting out of the way, winning, coming away from Stamford Bridge with 3 points. I don't want to be going to Stamford Bridge if I don't know when Arsenal play Chelsea away or Liverpool face Chelsea away. If that's in the latter half of the season, the final third of the season, Chelsea will have settled, their back line will have understood the instructions from Maresca, just like Pep's backline understood what he wanted them to do in his first season. When Pep's first season, if you go back to those final 10 fixtures of the season, if you remember that 2016 season, the final game of the season, we went away to Watford and won 5-0. I remember, and it was like, this is the football that Pep wants. We wiped the floor with teams in those final 5 games of the season because it was a light bulb moment. The team, the players, they all understood eventually what Pep wants, and that's because it takes time. So from Chelsea's perspective, I will be looking forward to the end of the season to see how well Maresca's instructions are being absorbed by the players. How well are they being understood? And if they do become understood, then Chelsea are in business. They've got a good manager there, and then they've got the quality players to do it. And next season we'll see the best of Chelsea if he's given time. But this is Todd Boehly we're talking about. So, point being is, I don't want to face Chelsea at the end of the season. And whenever Arsenal or Liverpool are facing them, it could be a different story. It could be a different Chelsea that they face. And getting that out of the way now and winning is absolutely bang on the money and exactly what we needed. Chat, how you all doing? How's everyone doing? Good to see you all in the chat. Drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. Nearly 300 of you watching, 64 likes so far. If you could get us up to 100 before the stream ends, that'd be really, really good. Yeah, good to see you all as well. Mullet Daddy saying Rico Lewis might not be the best right back in the Prem, by the way. Might be the best right back in the Prem, by the way. Well, that's a big shout, mate. That's a big shout. Who's... I don't know. He looks like he's putting down a flag to suggest that he could be one day. There are some good right backs out there. I'm trying to think though. Who's better? I'm trying to think. I mean, depends what you want. The full package, a fully fit. If he wasn't so injury prone, I would say Reece James is up there because I think Reece James is absolutely sensational. I'm a big fan of Reece James. I do like him. Trent Alexander-Arnold going forward would have something to say about his technical ability. Defensively, though, Rico over Trent all day long, mate. Because Trent goes wandering, his head goes fucking missing, doesn't it? His thought processes doesn't seem... He's not switched on. Whereas Rico is like both ends of the pitch. It's good, man. He's good. Like, he's technically able. He nearly scored, like, because it was disallowed, because Haaland clipped the knee of... Was it Colwill or Fofana? I think it was Colwill, wasn't it, in the end? But, I mean, Rico Lewis coming away with a goal... It would have put the cherry on the cake for me. And I feel like Kovacic did put the cherry on his cake, and Rico deserved a cherry on his cake. Speaking of cake, I had a cake in the Watchalong, which was rather delicious. Lemon drizzle. Speaking of cake, pretty enjoyable. But it was a fantastic result for City. It really was. I thought we coming away with a clean sheet. I want to talk about Ruben Diaz as well, by the way. Ruben Diaz was an absolute rock. Everything that came his way looked ready to deal with it. He's just going to be the epicenter, the nucleus of our defence all season, where you could see a Kanji drift off to the wings and Gavardi drifting off to their wings, but like he loves the middle of the pitch, Ruben Diaz. He loves that job. Give me a big, brute centre forward to mark, and Ruben Diaz is in his element. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. And Nicholas Jackson was the perfect opponent for Ruben Diaz to get his Premier League season off and running. Perfect, because he's a guy who can't hit a bloody back door with a banjo. He's absolutely useless at finishing, Nicholas Jackson. Technical ability is good. His hold-up play, he will out-strengthen him. But Ruben Diaz, pocketed him for the majority of the game. The only time Nicholas Jackson was able to do anything dangerous was when Akanji stepped forward in the first half on the halfway line, and Nicholas Jackson spun him and sent Nkunku away. Rico gets back. Brilliant bit of defending. There was a moment where Nicholas Jackson was sent through on a counter-attack as well. Ruben Diaz gets back. I thought Akanji struggled in the first half. There was a couple of passes that went astray. One that was intercepted, and then Akanji had to enter into a fist fight, well, not a fist fight, but a battle with Nkunku, and got fouled. He was fouled, and it was just lucky that he was fouled, but it was sloppy from Akanji. Akanji settled down in the second half. I thought he found his feet. I thought Gvardiol was a solid, simple performance from Gvardiol. Nothing glamorous from Josko. He did his job. He didn't do anything wrong, and every time it came his way, I felt like he was pretty solid. I thought De Bruyne looked fit as well. I wanted to highlight that. I thought De Bruyne looked very mobile, which is something I thought was a bit concerning in last season. He looked a little bit fresher than he did towards the end of last season, Kevin De Bruyne. And he played very well, Kevin De Bruyne, for me. I thought he was really good. Foden came on, struggled to make an impact second half. First minute of the season, really, for Phil Foden, without any pre-season minutes under his belt whatsoever. You expect that level of rustiness. I thought Bernardo Silva was fantastic as well, got himself an assist. And I think it was the correct decision to send Foden on the right. I know people will be saying, no, Phil Foden's a central player, and I agree with you. Long term, I agree with you. For this game, I felt like it was the correct decision, because Bernardo Silva was having a big say in that midfield. He also had the role of coming deep, Bernardo Silva, so come and collect it off Kovacic and come and collect it off Ruben Diaz, which then would have been, if you put Foden in that role, Phil Foden would have had to have dropped deep into a more of an 8 than a 10, possibly even a 6 at times. Bernardo Silva, certainly with the ball, he was in that defensive midfield role, collecting it off the defence. Phil Foden doesn't want to be doing that. I know he probably could do it, but Bernardo Silva can do that, and we know he can do that. An inexperienced, to the season, inexperienced Phil Foden. Do you know what I mean? As the player, he's experienced, but his freshness to the season's not there yet. He's not got the minutes yet. And to throw him right into the middle of our midfield in a role that would require him to drop deep and get heavily involved and play in the pockets, which we know he can do it, I just felt it was the right decision, because Bernardo Silva had got minutes under his belt from the Community Shield. The first half as well, he played that, so don't forget that he'd already been playing and settled into the game. And Phil Foden was allowed to go onto the right wing and try and impact the game as best as he can, but without too much pressure being thrown on to his shoulders, and he was allowed to bed him in slowly into the season. So I think that was the right decision to play him on the right. Long term, I would rather see Phil Foden tucking inside, getting alongside Kevin De Bruyne, playing as a number 10. That's where I'd prefer to see Phil Foden. And Doku on the right, Savinho on the left. What we do with Jack Grealish, I feel like he could also be played a little bit centrally this season, but it's a fantastic start to the season, it really is. Bendiv Diaz was class, I agree, mate. Douglas Wright says Bernardo looked good in a Bernardo-like understated way. That's very well put, and couldn't agree more. He's just that guy, isn't he? He's just that guy. Oh, Bernardo Silva, yeah, 8 out of 10 again. Yeah, 8 out of 10 again, mate. It's just Bernardo Silva, and you can see why Pep trusts him. Lachel Blue, I appreciate that, mate. I don't think, not perfectly, but I like to think I try. I try to. Not every City fan, because some City fans, last season I was being told by City fans that we weren't going to win the league. I was saying it was over. We're not a chance of City going to win the league, so I didn't represent them. But that's what I like, the fact that there are people that disagree with me. I want people to disagree with me, man. It's part of the game. It'd be kind of boring if we all agreed with each other, wouldn't it? But yeah, the reason why I think now, just on that same subject as well, just talking about the future and how the likeliness is City's going to have a decline in our future, in terms of the years ahead when Pep eventually leaves. So imagine the fans now, or the end of last season, that were writing the team off and really, really, really negative and so depressed. City are not going to win the league. Imagine when we actually are crap. If you can have a go at this City team now, we are being spoiled, man. We are so good. We are so good. And if you're having a problem with this City side now, Imagine what we're going to be like when Pep's gone. Imagine what those guys are going to be like. They're going to be... I don't think they'll watch football anymore. They'll move on to cricket or something. Say that, because cricket's on my bloody screen right now, because I left the TV on. Bloody cricket. Anyway, I think this is the time to be positive as a City fan. That's the point I want to make, because there will be a time to have a problem with the way that the team are playing, because that's on the horizon, because when Pep goes, we're going to have a little bit of a decline. We're going to have teething problems, new manager, how do we play? But that's hopefully multiple years away. Hopefully that's not the end of this season, and next season we've got Manchester City without Pep Guardiola as our manager. Hopefully he signs a new contract, and the signs are positive. The signs are good. But when they announce it, if they announce it, that's a fascinating topic, because I imagine if he doesn't sign it, my guess would be if we get to the end of the season and we haven't heard that Pep Guardiola is leaving, I have a feeling that he will leave. If he is to stay, I feel like they will announce it at some point during this season, possibly from an optical point of view, as an image thing, maybe when the spirits are down, maybe when it's not going quite our way in the season, we give our fans a nice boost, announce Pep Guardiola staying for another year, maybe 2 more years, and then we go, right, we know what's coming now, we've got Pep for another year. That would be my plan as the boardroom of City. Alternatively, if we don't hear anything, that's not as good. I feel like that could mean that we might have a Pepless season next season. But let's stop worrying about it. He's here. He's here now. Let's enjoy the now. He's here now. Let's enjoy. 2-0. Got the season off and running with an absolute corker of a result. You're just hoping we could have got that third, because we could have gone joint top of the league, couldn't we? Straight away, immediately, top of the league. But we've got Ipswich next. Ipswich at home. Now, Ipswich, by the way, who put in a very good first 45 minutes against Liverpool, fell away a little bit in the second half. Liverpool showed their class in the second half. But Ipswich at home versus Ipswich away, we've got to be controlling that game. Could we see Rodri come back? What we do tactically now? I mean, that defence and defensive midfield area, as much as we thought about, we've got to get cover for Rodri. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 players. We've actually have got players that can play in those positions. That we all knew that, but what Rico's done in showing his quality has really eased my concerns for that position, because I know he can do it now. Away at Stamford Bridge for 90 minutes, and he bossed it. He bossed it. He was brilliant, Rico Lewis. Kovacic, same again. He bossed it, scored. Kovacic, and he did it on his own, without Rodri alongside him. He had Rico coming and helping him. We know we can play Akanji in there. We know we can play John Stones in there. So I've just named 4 players that can do that job. Rodri is obviously the main man. Rodri's the one that needs to be there for the majority of the season. But knowing that those players can come and be massaged into the squad here and there makes me feel not as panicky about going and getting a Bruno Guimaraes, which doesn't seem likely, or a Kimmich, or a Wharton, or a whoever. You know, it doesn't make me as worried. Certainly not with the performances that we saw today with Kovacic and Rico Lewis going away to Stamford Bridge, keeping a clean sheet as well, which is a big role in defensive midfield. That's part of your job, is backing up their defence, being a barrier to your defenders. Kovacic was picking pockets, mate, all game. He was nicking the ball off them, left, right and centre. They Cole Palmer thinking, I've got this ball. He was dribbling for a minute with Cole Palmer, and where's the fucking ball gone, mate? Kovacic is running up the other end of the pitch, mate, with it. That's what's happening. You've been pocketed, pickpocketed. You know, it's like walking the streets of Barcelona. Sorry if anyone's a Barcelona fan here. Notorious pickpocketing city. But anyway, on that note, yeah, let's go and spank Ipswich with a nice 4 or 5-0. Top of the league would go, presumably, with a result like that. That would be nice. And we can start this season motoring. We really can. I'm excited. The only downside today is, as Vaxi's pointed out there, is Savio's injury serious. I don't know yet, mate. Hopefully not. I have a feeling not. I have a good feeling about it, because he came back onto the pitch. He sprinted at the end as well. At the end of his little cameo in that first half. So hopefully it was just maybe like a knee jar where it hurts quite a bit for like the first 24 hours, then it just disappears. I've done that multiple times where I've jarred my knee and it's like, I've got to go to hospital. I've got to go to hospital. And like having an absolute drama queen moment where you think your leg's about to fall off, and then you're like, oh right, hang on a minute, I can actually sprint again 10 minutes later. So hopefully it's one of them. If it's muscular, problem. He did look good in the first half. I've already mentioned that Vexy with Savinho. I think he could work on using his right foot. That showed. There was a moment, he did use it once, he put one cross in that wasn't bad with his right foot, so he's got one. He's not completely objecting against using it, just needs to be a bit more, you know, especially with, if you think about Mahrez, because he's the most likely player. He's very similar to Mahrez, isn't he, the way he slows down a player, but Mahrez never shied away from going onto his right foot, never. He enjoyed it, and that made him a deadly winger, deadly, because it was like, you know, Mahrez on his right wants to cut onto his left foot, because that left foot is like an elite left foot wand. It's magical what Mahrez can do with his left foot. The same looks like it can be said about Savinho's left foot. Mahrez had a right foot though, so fullbacks were like, okay, I'll always show you onto your right foot then, because I know you haven't got one. Well, Mahrez had one. In the end, Cucurella's body shape started to show, like, go onto your right foot, beat me. He did beat him, but then he slowed down. And because he didn't want to use his right foot. So that's an area that I'd like to see Savinho work on. But it's Goldbridge crying again, is he? It's hardly surprising, is it? Imagine some refereeing decision has annoyed him of some kind. Probably the one on the edge of the area that was a free kick. But anyway, who cares? Who cares? Who cares what he thinks in his irrelevant Manchester United football club? They're fucking peasants, mate. They're absolutely nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us, Manchester United. Well, they're not even in our league in terms of challenging us for Premier League. Well, nothing club. Blues, what a win. Clean sheet, 2-0 away to Stamford Bridge. That has sent a message that we are very much looking at 5 in a row. Can we maintain the form that we show? Can we continue using players and bringing the likes of Rico Lewis and Kovacic more into the frame? It's a shame Oscar Bob wasn't available, because I feel like he probably would have started today. And I mean, he would have definitely come on with Savinho's injury. That's a big blow, man. That's a big blow. I'd have loved to have seen Oscar Bob for the majority of the season, but that's a shame. But 2-0, job done. Blues, drop a like on the stream. If you're watching now, that'll be hugely appreciated. And if you're watching after the fact, please do so as well. It really helps the channel grow. And consider subscribing as well. 2-0. Spurs, Leicester, that's all that's left. I'll be watching that tomorrow. Looking forward to that game. But then Ipswich, brilliant. Great win. Come on, City. What a massive win. Take care, Blues. See you in the next one.